just leave it like that. It's too much pressure on the boat. I want to have it reef. Okay. I'm just going to replace the shackle and then we'll reef it up again. Okay. Alright. So we just lost this shackle. It's one of the shackles that is on the further line because we just got a front over here that gave us a big gust. And it just pulled this shackle right off of the stanchion. So what I'm gonna do, this is too big to fit around the whole stanchion. So I made this Dyneema soft shackle. This is a great use of a Dyneema soft shackle. Now that'll get me through until we can find some more permanent solution. Let's go to the second reef. Looks pretty good. I think it's great. I know you guys can't feel it, but the motion of the boat is way better now. We had the full sail out and I was thinking we should reef, so I always reef when we do, but we should have double reefed because a single wasn't enough and it pulled this out. And had I not had this, what are you gonna use? So I'm gonna teach you guys how to make these and what the uses for Dyneema are on my boat. All right, if you've never seen or don't know what Dyneema is, this is Dyneema. It's a 12-strand high modulus polyethylene rope. And that's a lot of words just to say it doesn't stretch much and it's made of plastic. But it's currently one of the strongest ropes in the world. If you feel this fiber, it's real slippery and really easy to work with. It's got 12 strands. You can count them, but there's 12 and they're all interwoven together all the way up the line. And each strand is made up of hundreds of other strands. It comes in a multitude of colors and sizes. This is 3/8, this is 1/4 inch. Here's about half a roll of 1/8 inch. You can get this for about 120 bucks. Here's maybe 10% of a roll of 7/64. I think this cost me 100 bucks for 600 feet of it. This is a shackle that I made, a single shaft shackle out of 1/8. This is also 1/8, and this is a different kind of soft shackle that's a little stronger. How you use the fids, they're tapered on one end, and then they have an opening on the other end with a little hook. So you can take and insert this into the Dyneema, go all the way through the middle, and then take the back end, put it in the back of there, and push that bad boy all the way through. It just helps you get the line through the Dyneema. And then when it's tight, it acts as a Chinese finger trap, and that line doesn't want to pull out. So I'm going to teach you how to work with this stuff, how to splice it. I'm going to teach you how to make one of these double soft shackles that has about 8,000 pound breaking strength. This can almost hold up my entire boat. And you can make them any diameter you want, just by using the formula I'll give you. But first, let's talk about the uses on the boat. The pull start to the generator. Lifelines, the entire rig. Whisker pole. Trampolines on Zingaro are woven Dyneema. The keeper for my sunglasses and the lanyard for my hat. My pole spear, spear gun bands. This line is run all the way around the back of the boat with some fishing net in between for a safety net. These are the in-hauls for my rudders. They're under the water a lot, and they're still in great shape a year and a half later. This is a soft shackle. Soft shackle, soft shackle. These two are soft shackles. Soft shackle. Shit. That's not a soft shackle. These are my special Dyneema scissors. They have a Dyneema lanyard. They're made of titanium. The dinghy seam started splitting, so I just drilled holes and used Dyneema as thread. Alright, boys and girls, let's talk about the tools necessary to work with Dyneema. So first things first, you're going to need a good set of Fids. F-I-D, Fid. Now, this is a set of Selma Fids. They're made in Norway. They're nesting Fids. This is by far and away the best set I've ever had. They nest inside one another. You get 5 or 6 of them depending on what set you buy. They have one end that's tapered to go through the Dyneema, or any line really, and one side that has a receptacle with a little pin here. Look, right there, there's a little cutout right there that allows you to put the line in the back. Another thing you can do is make your own Fids, or buy them from alternative sources. This is from a sewing store. This is a piece of 1/2-inch aluminum pipe that I cut. 1/2-inch PVC. And these work okay, but what you really want is a good set of Fids if you're going to do anything serious. This is for the smaller diameters, 1/8, 7/64, 1/4 inch. This is to push up inside, grab it, and pull through. It's just a piece of Monel wire folded over in half. This doesn't work for the bigger diameters, so I'm going to wait to show you how that works until we do the soft shackle video. You're going to need a good pair of scissors, and on a boat, a pair of titanium scissors is key for this, or a very, very sharp knife. Some painter's tape, and a measuring tape. Okay, first thing you need to do is pick your Dyneema. This is 3/8 Dyneema. I've chosen it because it's easy for you to see and it's easy for me to work with. We're going to talk about 2 types of splices, the locking Brummel splice and the Mobius splice. First, we're going to do the locking Brummel splice. That's where you need to take a piece of Dyneema and put an eye into it. But first we need to talk about Fid length. Now, a Fid length, as described by Samson, is 21 times the diameter of the rope. So if this is 3/8 rope, if you turn that into a decimal, that's 0.375, and times 21 is 7.875, which we're just going to round to 8. We're going to use the non-standing rigging application for this splice, so we're going to use 2 Fid lengths, or 16 inches. And we're going to mark at 16. A Sharpie works best for this. Now we're going to turn that over and make our desired eye splice length. If you'd like a large eye to be part of a mooring line to pop over a cleat or mooring, or if you'd like a smaller eye to be part of anchor gear or to be tied onto another line, or you can take a thimble and just measure out the width of a thimble. That's what we'll do today. So we want it about that big. So we're going to make a mark on the other side at the same spot. We're going to call this one mark A and this one mark B. Now we're going to take our Fid and go to mark B and push it all the way through mark B, making sure that we have 6 strands on either side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we're going to take your bitter end and put it through until you can see the mark on the other side come through. Right there. You see it? Now we're going to take the Fid again at this mark and we're going to take the other end, the standing end, and push that through. And pull it all the way through. Now we have a locked splice. you cannot pull that through anymore. Okay, now that we have this ready to go and ready to be buried, we're going to taper this end to make it a little more uniform when it goes through. So you choose 3 strands on this side and 3 strands on this side. You start by taking one. So I'm going to show you with the fid. So there's the one I just took out. Now we skip the next one. We're going to take this one out, skip the next one, and take this one out. 1, 2, 3. Now we flip it over, choose one, skip one, choose one, skip one, choose one. Now we cut all 6 of those strands. Okay, now we have a tapered end. Now we need to bury it. Take our fid, measure 2 strands down, and then open it up and start shoving your fid through the Dyneema, being careful not to catch any of the Dyneema fibers. When you get to the end, shove the bitter end through, make sure you lock it in there so it doesn't come out, and then we're gonna start to push that bitter end all the way through inside the center of the 12 strands and making that Chinese finger trap action work. And then when you're about done, go ahead and come out of the Dyneema anywhere, and this is what you should have. Now we just pull, and work with it a little bit to get it back into perfect shape. And there we are. That's a locked Brummel splice. This eye will not pull out. No matter how you pull it, it's locked in there. It's locked on itself. Now we can put our thimble in, and we can add that to our anchor line, or add that to another line. That's the Brummel. So the next splice we'll be talking about is called the Mobius Brummel splice. And this splice is used when you only have access to one end of the rigging. Say you tied this one off up on the top of the mast, and now you want to tie the other end to the chain plate at the bottom of the mast. So what you do is you measure out your 3.5 fid lengths. So we're going to measure out 28 inches. If you do your research, you'll hear from multiple sources, multiple definitions of the bury length for standing rigging. But usually it's either 72 times the diameter of the Dyneema, 60 times the diameter, or 3.5 fid lengths. So to err on the side of caution, we're going to use the highest one, which is 28 inches or 3.5 fid lengths. And remember, to find fid length, we use 3/8 as a fraction, or 0.375, times 21, which equals 7.875, times 3.5 equals about 28 rounded up. And that will be our bury length. So we're going to put a mark there and call that A. Now we're going to take our thimble and we're going to wrap the line around the thimble and mark it again, and that'll be marked B. Now we take our fid, we go through mark B. Another option you can use at this point is to pull the fid back and angle the approach by putting it through the next 2 lines up on one side. So just measure out one section of the braid up, and theoretically that'll put a little less stress on the line when it's set, when it's constricted. And then we're going to put the bitter end right through that. Okay, now that we've pulled the bitter end through, we're going to pull it all the way through until we see our A point, which is right here. And then we're going to put the fid back through that point, counting to make sure we have 6 fibers on each side, and put the bitter end through that point. And we're going to pull tight until this knot inverts itself. There, we have an inverted knot. Now I'm going to use a bigger fid. This is my 3/8 fid. Here's my 14mm fid. I'm going to open that up. And then I'm going to put my loop through that point. This is a little bit tricky. Sometimes you can use the back end of this to kind of hold it down and push it through. Sometimes you can just push it through by hand. What you don't want to do is catch any of these fibers and push them through. Just one fiber at a time. You want to get the whole knot through. Just work on it. Easy does it. And then as that comes out, you're going to invert that knot again. And this is what you end up with. A nice, clean Brummel splice. Now let's feed it through here and then taper it and bury it. So we're going to count 2 strands. 1, 2. We're going to enter it into there. We're going to work this through the center. Being careful again not to snag any of the threads. So we're going to bunch this up as much as we can. And then we're going to open up the Dyneema and we're going to lock it using a fid. That way it can't go back through. Now we're going to taper this end. What we're going to do is we're going to count every 4th fiber and pull it out. That'll give a uniform taper. This is a different way to do the taper. It's depending on what you like and what you want and what you read. So 1, 2, 3, 4. One, two, three, 4. So basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to reduce any sharp bends in the taper that would reduce the life. So now we bury this and voila! This is our Mobius splice. Now we can put our thimble back in and we're ready to make that into a piece of standing rigging. There's the Mobius splice. Okay, the last thing we're going to learn how to make is this double shackle. I'm going to make it out of 1/8. There's really no reason to make it out of anything bigger than that. The knot ends up being huge and the breaking strength is on this thing is about 8,200 pounds. So it's a lot stronger than any steel shackle that you get, even a 1/2 inch. So this breaking strength is 220% of one single strand of 1/8 Dyneema, which is already 30% stronger than steel wire cable. It looks a little funny, but once you get used to it, they work very, very well. So, how do you make them? First of all, the one here is a 4-inch loop. You need to pick how long you want the loop. If you would like a 4-inch loop just like this, you need to start with 48 inches of Dyneema. If you'd like a 5-inch loop, you need to add 4 inches to the starting length and make it 52 inches of Dyneema. 6 inches, 56 inches, 7 inches, 60 inches, etc., etc. Same way for the way down. I wouldn't make them much smaller than 3 inches though. They're real hard to work with after that because you don't have enough space to get the knot through. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to measure out 48 inches. We're going to cut that off. First we're going to taper both ends of this. To taper it, we're just going to take and do it the same way we did with the 3/8. Pull out one strand, skip one, pull out another one, skip one, pull out another one. So there's 3 on that side, and the same thing on this side. 1, skip 1, 1, skip 1, 1. That's what we have when we're done with that. So we got one tapered. We're going to do the same on the other side. Do the other tapered too. Okay, now what we want to do, now that we have both of our ends tapered, is measure both ends 6 and 8 inches and mark them. So there's 6, there's 8, and it's kind of hard to see with this black Dyneema, but you can get the picture. Now we take our small fid and we go through the 8-inch mark, and we're going to make a locking Brummel splice like I just taught you to do. Take the bitter end, go through, until you see the next mark. And we're going to want to take the standing end to go through that mark. So we're going to go straight down through that mark, making sure you have 50-50, 6 strands on each side. And then we're going to take the standing end and push it right through there. Okay? So there's that locking Brummel splice that we just learned how to do. Now something easy to do is to always put your fid through the eye of your eye, and then it makes it easier to lock these things in place. So that's what you should have when you're done. That's the locking Brummel splice. Now we have to bury this. Now for this one, we're going to do it a little differently. This is where we're going to use this tool. This is just one piece of solid wire, heavy gauge wire, that I took and folded over itself and then wrapped around to make a little loop on the end. It's a very rudimentary, crude tool, but it works very well. So we're going to take about another 2 inches past this, and then we're going to insert our tool into this, into the braid, all the way up the center of the braid. And this time we're going to grab it and pull it down instead of pushing it through. It works a lot better on these smaller diameter Dyneema pieces. So take about, you want it to come out about 2 strands from the end. And then grab the end of the fiber, feed it through the eye. Sometimes it helps to take the fid and open this up just a little bit. Just open that up and then pull it through. Okay, so when you're done, it should look like that. And then again, take your fid, put it in the eye, and just like that. Okay, that's a great berry with the Brummel splice. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now on this one, it's going to help to take another fid the next size up and push that one through first, because you've got to put that whole eye through there. So here's what we have now. So we want to find the center, and we want to go down about the same as one of these loops, about 1 inch on one side. Open that up, shove your fid through, and you want to take the longer of the two and put it through there. You may have to use another fid. Here's what you got now. That's the constrictor band for the end, and here's the ends of the knot. So now you want to make a single hitch, and you want to clean it up so it's perfect. No lines are crossing. And then you want to take that loop that we made, and we want to put it through both of these eyes. Sometimes it helps to use a fid, sometimes you can do it by hand. Okay, and that makes a knot that's locked into itself, and that the ends are buried inside this knot. Now we can just open up this loop, put the knot through, close the loop. And since we started out with 48 inches, this should be about a 4-inch loop, which it is. And now what you do is you put this into a winch to allow the stretch to come out of it and to tighten up the knot. Lock it onto a cleat, put the other side to a rope in a winch, and just really stretch it real hard and leave it overnight, and then it'll come out perfect. So that's how you make that. And that's got 220% breaking strength of a single strand of 1/8 Dyneema. And usually when these fail, what happens is this knot will pull at this big knot and it'll invert it. But because this is the new type of shackle, it doesn't invert, and the failure will occur here in this splice where it's the weakest. Hey! If you haven't used Dyneema before, I hope this is a good introduction to you. If you have, leave me a comment and let me know what you use it for. Maybe you'll give me an idea of what I can use it for on my boat. If you'd like to see more of our adventure log, please click one of these. If you'd like to be part of the crew, click that. If you want to subscribe, click that. Peace.
The last one was good. I like the last one. This is a very, very pretty font.
Last
You want to
what?
say anything else?
No, that's it.